So in this little video, we talk about the concepts, the basic concepts of play. And I feel it's vitally important for an athlete to kind of get their body ready for play. I'm not a huge proponent of teaching aids, but if I'm going to recommend one, I will recommend this one. It's called the Orange Whip, and I'm going to show you how to use an Orange Whip to kind of help get your body ready for play. We want to get the whole kinematic chain ready to move. So I'm just going to start with my feet and my ankles. I'm going to go up in the ball of my right foot, and I'm going to make a rightward or clockwise circle with my knee in one direction. And I'm going to do that 7 to 10 times, and I'm going to switch directions. I'm allowing that ankle to go in its full range of movement, so when I start to load and unload, my foot and ankle can really help and support that. And whatever I do on one side, I'm going to do on the opposite side. If I had a specific goal when I was doing this exercise, it'd be maybe try to keep the ball of my foot on the ground. And I'm going to work up the chain a little bit further, or I'm going to try to stretch out my quads and my hamstrings a little bit. First one I'm going to do, I'm going to get my hamstring, and I'm just going to take the Orange Whip to help me a little bit. Go into a stride stance, and I'm going to take my trail foot and I'm going to turn it out about 45 degrees. And I'm going to bend forward a little bit, and then I'm just going to reach out towards the ground. And then I'm going to come back up to my chest, and this time I'm going to reach out to the outside of my leg, and I'm going to come back to my chest, and now I'm going to reach down to the inside of my leg, and I'm going to come back to that chest. And I'm going to repeat that motion a few times to help stretch out that hamstring. And again, whatever I do on one side, I'm going to stay balanced. I'm going to do it on the opposite side as well. So after I get that hamstring a little bit looser, I'm going to go back into my stride stance, and now I'm going to work on my quadricep. So my trail leg is the one I'm going to try to pull, and I'm just going to take my pelvis and I'm just going to tuck it up under me. And notice I'm not holding these positions for a real long time. I'm being a little bit more dynamic, or getting ready for movement, or warming up and not cooling down. And then once I get to the end range of motion, after about 7 of those stretches, I'm going to make a circle in one direction. Or I'm going to then make a circle in the opposite direction. Remember, always the same thing on the opposite side. So now I've worked my feet and my ankles a little bit. I've stretched out my quadriceps and my hamstrings a little bit. That even helps me. My calves get really tight, so that kind of helps stretch my calves. I'm going to now try to stretch my shoulders and my chest a little bit, and also my thoracic spine. And I'm just going to take the whip. I'm going to kind of hold it over my head like looking like a martini glass a little bit, and then I'm just going to let that bend behind to where I start to feel a little bit of a stretch. I'm going to separate my feet, get into a little bit of golf posture, and I'm just going to smoothly, slowly rotate. I'm keeping my eyes fixed kind of at a point on the grass or the ground. Again, after I do about 7 to 10 of those, I'm going to bring that martini glass, and now I'm going to have the rim of the glass more out in front of me. I'm going to bend forward in a little bit of golf posture. Again, I'm keeping my eyes on the grass. That helps stretch out my neck and my cervical spine a little bit. And again, after I do about 7 to 10 of those, I'm ready to go to the next stretch. So again, I've worked myself all the way up the chain. Started with my feet and my ankles, then I got the front of my leg and the back of my leg. Now I kind of worked my chest and shoulders and got those stretched a little bit. Now I feel like I'm ready to start making some swings. So I'm going to use the Orange Whip the way Mr. Hackenberg designed it to. I'm going to allow it to help me make a nice free swinging athletic motion. And notice I keep the motion going. I'm not stopping after every swing. And I'm trying to make the whipping or whooshing noise just a little bit louder each time. And after I get about 10 to 12 of those, I'm going to pretend I'm a left-handed golfer, and I'm going to do the same thing. A little bit louder each time. After I got about 10 to 12 of those, I'm ready to start hitting some golf balls. So I got my body all warmed up for play. Now I'm ready to start play a little bit, or starting to hit some golf shots before my round. I like to start with one of my wedges, and when I start, I'm not even really making that big a swing. I'm just seeing if I can start to get the club to glide across the grass a little bit, as opposed to dig like that one did, right? Really working on that idea that I got good control of where the low point of my stroke is. And after I do that, with no real target in mind, just kind of, again, focused on that big idea concept of, hey, can I make the bottom of the club touch the grass where I'd like it to touch the grass? So I get pretty good at that skill, and that usually takes me 12 to 14 swings. And now I'm ready to make a little bit of a bigger swing, putting a little more speed on the club head. And then after I make a couple of those, well, then I'm ready to go ahead and I'm ready to make my first full swing. And I'll do a couple of those. So I hit quite a few shots with my short lofted club. This is my sand wedge, before I start to work through my bag to warm up to play. After I go through that wedge process, I pick odds or evens, and then I just start hitting golf shots. So for me now, I become a little bit more target oriented. I have my little alignment grid set up. This helps me understand where my ball is starting relative to the target that day and which way it may be curving. I don't know about you all, but I'm never the same day to day, so I allow for that variability, and I just try to understand what's going on that day. I don't try to fix anything or change anything. I just understand where my ball likes to start relative to the target and which way it's curving, and then that way when I go play golf, I can align appropriately for it. So again, I get back here, I do my routine, pick out a target, align my club face and my body where I feel like I should. And I guess if I do have a trend in my golf stroke, this is relatively it. My ball will tend to start left of the target and then curve a little bit back towards the target line. So again, I go odds or evens. I hit 4 to 5 shots with each club working up the bag, and then I'm ready to pick up my driver and hit a couple drives, and maybe even simulating the first tee shot I may hit on that golf course. So I warmed up my body for play. I made some golf swings to get ready to go play. I'll most likely head over to the putting green and roll some putts. You know the game I like to play. I like to take that ball marker, that coin, and just kind of toss it on the green, hit a couple putts to it, walk over to where those two balls are, pick up that coin, toss it somewhere else, and et cetera, just kind of go through that process, working on all those components. Yes, I need to read that putt to understand how it's going to roll across the ground or predict the break on how it's going to arrive to that coin. I have to start the ball on a pretty good line relative to what I predicted, and my speed control needs to be good as well. And now I'm ready to play. And I like to get my players to kind of blank the slate. And all I mean by that is that I'm just asking them to clear their minds of any technical ideas and do their best to see a little bit into the future, or give themselves a guideline for where they would like their ball to end up. And even if they want to see themselves moving to create that golf shot, I don't think that's a bad idea. And the last piece of advice that I feel is vitally important for players to get the right mindset is there are a myriad of possibilities of what your ball may or may not do. I just like to accept all outcomes before they happen, and that kind of frees me up to be a little bit loose and a little more, I'm going to say, fearless when I play golf, because I'm already accepting whatever outcome that's going to show up in front of me. Get out on the golf course, play golf. Play is your best coach. I hope to see you out there. Cheers.